You're a new student over here, Baruch Hashem. And we actually hope one day to have a student that comes because they're watching online. We get anywhere from, I would say, usually a minimum of 5, a maximum of about 15, 20 people, random people.
That's basically nothing.
It's not a lot, but it is people. Every person counts, and every person deserves to have the access to the Talmud.
You know what I saw that really? Oh, we're already streaming. Okay.
Yeah, we are. Is it working? Is it working? It is working. Good. You think? All right, guys, listen up. Yesterday we started the Gemara. We started the Gemara. We're going to continue today. The sheets should be ready by the time this year is over. They are currently printing, unless the printer made me problems, which could be, but I hope it didn't. But that's that. And we should also be sharing it on our WhatsApp group. For those of you who've joined our WhatsApp group, please. Good. I mean, not good. We'll get you on the group. No problem.
And what do the sheets contain?
The sheets literally contain word for word of the Gemara, and it gives you the ability to take notes like this individual called Avi over here, how you can see the beauty and the art of his deep effort in understanding the Gemara. Basically, what we found is that those people who want to learn Gemara and haven't learned it very well in the past, they usually end up making these little tiny notes to help them remind them of what's going on. And then their whole Gemara looks all messy, and then the eyes can get destroyed, God forbid, because they had to write so small. So we basically make these sheets for them so that they can write on it and make their notes, and that by the end of the week, they can know how to read it in the Gemara without their notes. That's the goal, right? Good. Allegedly? Why is allegedly?
Allegedly. We do our best to make it happen.
No, that's what you should do.
Yeah.
That's what you should do, right? If you do it, that's if you do it or not, that's your win or loss. All right. Now, we discussed yesterday a bit of a question where it seemed we had a contradiction between two terminologies. One said that the 4 cups require a kos yofe, a nice cup, and one said it requires a reviz. They seem to be contradicting each other. And we said, what is a nice cup? The nice cup is that in the olden days, they used to actually dilute the wine. They didn't drink the wine straight. They used to dilute it with water. As we said in the Rashbam, they used to dilute it 1 part water, 1 part wine to 3 parts water. Yeah.
And how does it say a geffen?
Well, if you did that mixture or more wine, it's still a geffen. Because that was a normal way that they used to drink wine in the old days. They didn't drink it the way we drink it, which is straight, right? We drink it usually because we want to get a little drunk. They used to drink it as a regular drink. Yeah, they used to actually drink wine as like, instead of having a cup of Coke, we had a cup of wine. Yeah. Sounds like a good time. Well, they didn't usually have straight wine. They used to dilute it a bit, so it wasn't that powerful on the alcohol side. Yeah.
The reason why they didn't use Coke back then is because they actually put cocaine in Coca-Cola before the government got them in trouble.
So I think the reason that you didn't use Coca-Cola back then, because Coca-Cola didn't exist back then. I hate to break it to you, but in the time of the temple, there was no Coca-Cola. They didn't have it. It wasn't yet invented. Yes. And by the way, Coca-Cola generally was always legal, even though they had cocaine at a point. Allegedly, I didn't check it up, so don't quote me on this. But allegedly, they used to have a little bit of cocaine in the Coca-Cola before it got illegal. But once it got illegal, they stopped putting it in there. So it was not like it's not like there was a time where Coca-Cola was illegal. No. As soon as it was legal, as soon as it was illegal, they took it out. As far as I know, Coca-Cola is a law-abiding company, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're very good. Law-abiding today is you could abide by all the laws of the land and still be a horrible person. As a matter of fact, some of the most horrible people in the world have figured out how to use the system and abuse the system. So again, I'm just saying, not necessarily saying they are, but Coca-Cola is definitely not a very healthy drink. Especially some of their versions have known to cause some deadly illnesses as well. Especially, some of the, I'm not going to mention which ones, but some of them do. You do your own research on this. I'm not a doctor, so don't trust me for medical advice, right, etc. So, but you could trust if you go to any doctor and say, "Should I be drinking Coke?" They'd say, "Probably better not." Even Diet Coke is worse than regular Coke.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, I'm not a doctor. You could ask your doctor, but I would assume if you asked a doctor, yeah. You know, people actually there was every once in a while I'm at like a meal and there's like Diet Coke, and I'm like, listen, could you pass the regular Coke? They're like, what? We have the Diet Coke here. You want to be healthy? I said, yeah, I want to be healthy. That's why I want the regular Coke. That's regular sugar. No, yeah. Huh? Anyways, I don't know why we're hacking at Chinik about this. Let's get to the Gemara. Okay, we are starting today. Tanu Rabbanon. Tanu Rabbanon is a massive, fat keyword, as I explained to you guys in many times. A keyword is a word that means far beyond the literal meaning of the terminology. What is the literal terminology of Tanu Rabbanon? Mendel? Close. The rabbis taught. The rabbis taught. The rabbis taught means it was taught in a brisa. That's, I mean, again, as a keyword, essentially, the definition of a keyword, as I explain it, is basically a word that means that has a lot more meaning than its literal meaning. So, Tanu Rabbanan, number one, it means the rabbis taught. It means the rabbis taught in a brisa. A brisa is a quote from the Tanaic era that was not included in the Mishnah. Okay, now Tanu Rabbanan also is very important because Tanu Rabbanan is always a discussion starter. Okay, even though in this case we find it seemingly smack in the middle of a conversation, right? So again, Tanu Rabbanan could be in the middle of a conversation, but it is a discussion starter. So just so you should know, I have to teach you English, at least my English, before you could understand what I'm talking about. When I say a conversation essentially could include multiple discussions. Okay, you could have a conversation, you could speak for an hour, but you're speaking about different topics, different things. At the beginning of the conversation, you're speaking about the weather, and then you go on to speaking about the politics, and then you go on to speaking about who knows what, right? And then each one is a discussion. So you have the conversation, etc., and then you have a discussion. A discussion is a particular area of trying to analyze or figure out or understand certain rules in the halachic sphere. All right. Now, Tanu Rabbanan is always initiating a discussion. As a matter of fact, if you're learning Gemara and sometimes you're trying to, you kind of get lost in the conversation, and you're like, okay, well, where does the conversation start? Where does it end? Or sorry, where does the discussion start and where does it end? If you see Tanu Rabbanan, you know the previous discussion's over. The previous discussion was speaking about what's the difference between a revis and kois yafe, right? That is done. Now, Tanu Rabbanan is likely going to be on the same topic that we were discussing before, but it is not a question. It is not an answer. It is literally starting a new thing, similar to what I told you in the past, iboilahu, when it's an inquiry. We're trying to inquire, what about a particular detail that was not mentioned, right? Tanu Rabbanan is similarly initiating a new discussion. Okay, so again, it is likely to be on the topic of the within the conversation because it kind of flows within the conversation, but it's not. We're not challenging anything of the past. We're not asking a question on something of the past. Nothing. We are literally quoting a Tanaic quote to begin a new discussion based on that quote. Okay. It's actually a very good marker to know where the discussion ended and where the discussion starts. So if you don't have two dots and you see Tanu Rabbanan, that means that up until the Tanu Rabbanan is one discussion. From the Tanu Rabbanan and on is another discussion. Yes, it might be on the same topic, the same general discussion, the same general conversation, but it is a new thing. Okay, so let's read what the Brisatic quote says as follows. Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis start as follows. Hakol chayav ba'arba koises. Everyone is required to drink 4 cups of wine on Pesach Eve, right? Echad anoshim, both men, ve'echad noshim, and women, ve'echad datinoikes, and even children. Men, women, and children are all required to drink 4 cups of wine I hope, I'm not sure who's listening to me on the internet over here. We might get in trouble. They're like, why are you feeding your kids a bunch of wine and alcohol?
Okay, they want to feed puberty blockers. We'll give them a
Yeah,
little
they
wine.
want to, yeah, exactly. Huh?
Jewish alcohol resistance training.
Yes, Jewish alcohol resistance training. But I will tell you, technically, according to most opinions, you could also fulfill the obligation by grape juice. So you don't have to have it. It doesn't have to be alcoholic, but they have to drink. They have to drink 4 cups. All right. So that is the statement of the Brisatic quote. Yeah.
When we were saying with the grapes with the 4 cups, I was saying something right. Well, it's not just children; it's women that are pregnant also.
Yeah.
Women that are pregnant too.
Yeah. What about them?
They can't drink 4 cups of wine.
Why not?
Because it affects the baby with alcohol fetal syndrome.
A little bit of this alcohol doesn't really hurt that much. Too much is that, right? Huh?
It didn't affect me that much.
Didn't affect you when you were pregnant?
Not that I know.
Huh?
No, when my mother was pregnant.
Oh, when your mother was pregnant. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking a blame on my problems.
I don't know. Today, a guy with a beard could have a pregnancy, so I don't know. You never know. But
Some people say.
huh?
Some people say.
Some people say you're okay. Should we ask your wife?
Probably not.
Yeah, that is, if you want to know a person's problems, you always just go to the wife. Like, what's your husband's problems? He says, what's not a problem? Anyways, can I know how to? Amar Rabbi Yehuda, says Rabbi Yehuda, so Rabbi Yehuda, who's also a Tanaic sage, he says, why on earth do children need wine? What do they gain by drinking 4 cups of wine? Why are we giving the poor kids 4 cups of wine? Right? He says, no, instead we give them kloyos, we give them basically whole grains and nuts on the day before Pesach. Huh? Hazelnuts.
Or is it goes in just like general?
I think it goes in my general nuts, right? Yeah. And then let the kids go nuts.
So don't fall asleep.
That's it. Yes, maybe that's where it came from. Let the kids go nuts. Let them go nuts. So we give them kloyos. We give them these whole grains, which means they're like kind of the kernels, grain kernels, and nuts are little things to play around with, and then they play around with them. As a matter of fact, in Chabad, if you ever want to know why certain Chabad people get into gambling, it's all the fault of nuts. Nuts is the biggest gambling. We gamble nuts. I don't know about you guys, but when I was growing up in Crown Heights, every Pesach there was a marketplace. It was called a nutty marketplace. Right? They used to have all these things where they used to put down a little bucket, and they used to say, if you stand over there and you throw it and you get it into the bucket, I'll give you 10 nuts in return. And if you don't, I get to keep your nuts. So the guys are sitting there throwing and trying to get it into the bucket, and we train them young. I mean, it's mamish like a casino. It really is. You don't know. You Crown Heights? No. Oh, you weren't Crown Heights. Any Crown Heightsers over here? Crown Heights go nuts, man. It's like, I still got 2. Thank God. That was a little bit below the belt. What's going on today? What's going on? All right. Okay, we have to go. This class is meant to be like PG, not.
Go to show the Rashbam is.
Huh?
The Rashbam is.
Where?
For the Rashbam.
Oh, well, we have both Rashi and the Rashbam, although Rashi is somewhat short, and that's why the Rashbam felt in it. Anyways, back to what we're saying is that this concept of this, I'm surprised I'm the only one here that ever saw this tradition of giving the kids nuts. They used to play. They used to also put down. There was the bucket challenge. There was also we used to put down one nut. We used to put down one nut like over here, and then tell the other guy, okay, if you stand over there, if you throw the nut and it hits this nut, then you win X amount, and if it misses, then I keep it, right? And used to have the guys just like whipping at the nuts. They go, yeah, one to the next, right? Then they had the other game. The other game that we used to have was that you would put a certain amount of nuts in your hands, and you go like this, and the person had to guess how much nuts are in your hands. And if they guessed it, they keep it. And if they don't, then you switch. You have to like switch. It's like 1-on-1, right? So I do this. If the guy guesses it, he keeps it. If he doesn't, I keep it. Oh, no. Sorry. I forgot how the game works. No. I put it in. If I put nuts in here, if he guesses it, he keeps it. If he doesn't guess it, he has to give me the difference. So, for example, if I have 6 nuts and he says 5, he has to give me 1 nut. If he says 3, then he has to give me 3 nuts, right? And then, but then you went both ways. Meaning it wasn't one way. It was like meaning like each person got a chance. Now that doesn't end over there. Okay, you'd put the nuts in your hand, and it wasn't just okay. Guess how much is in here? No. I have to know. They used to squeeze your hand. They used to here. We need to go like this. Pretend as if there's a bunch of nuts in your hand. Then I get to go like this and squeeze, and you have to try to prevent me from squeezing so that you can't try to figure out. But if I squeeze, and then I could try to guess a little better how many nuts there are. We did this. We did this from 5 or 6, probably up to maybe 14, 15 years old. Every Pesach, go to Crown Heights. I'm sure they're still doing it. Yeah. If any Crown Heights is in our yeshiva? No, I'm the only Crown Heights in our yeshiva. Man, that is surprising. Who else is a Crown Heights? No Crown Heights is here. Huh. Anyways, that's that. I'm not sure. Anyways. Okay, let's go back to what we're saying here. The Tanea quote opens up by saying that everybody's required to have 4 cups, including men, women, and children. Rabbi Yehuda says, hold on, he doesn't agree with this. He says, why give children cups of wine? Better just give them nuts to play around with, and let them have fun. And that itself will Kadei Shelo Yishnu. Number 1, they won't go to sleep because I'll be so preoccupied with these nut games. They won't go to sleep.
Don't we sleep on Erev Pesach and be awake for the Seder? So
first of all, Erev Pesach, that's a good question. Erev Pesach depends, when you look at the Gemara, when you say Erev Pesach in the Gemara, it could mean already when Pesach started, meaning the Eve of Pesach could be after it started. Literally, Erev Pesach means the Eve of Pesach. Right. Today, when we say Erev Pesach, we mean the day before Pesach, right? Erev Pesach in the Gemara could mean the evening of Pesach. So in other words, the evening of Pesach, when you come to your Seder, give these kids nuts. They'll be so preoccupied. Wow, I have these nuts to play with them. They start throwing them around. They're putting in their hands. The people are trying to guess them. I heard back in Russia, there was actually a thing where you'd actually throw them in the ear. And they had to say a number before it fell down. And if they guessed it, they keep it. If not, they had to do the difference. And I heard that people they said, I don't know if it's true, but they say that the Rebbe used to play this game. And the kids stopped playing with him because he's too accurate. Like they used to throw the nuts in the air. He used to get the numbers. So he was able to count them. He would count them in the air, and before they fell down, he would say the number, and it was right. And they stopped playing. Yeah, it reminds me when I was in Crown Heights, the guys they got together, and they said let's play tackle football. Right, so they started playing tackle football. Of course, Crown Heightsers, the Crown Heights boys.
Where did they play that?
In the park. There's a park over there, Lefferts Park. Used to play tackle football. Now the problem is that we didn't have any no padding, no nothing, right? And after the first game, they kicked me out. They're like, "Listen, you're knocking us down too hard. Like, what am I supposed to do? Knocking a guy down. I have to get you down to the floor, right?" Right, they liked when a guy would grab them and like hold them and struggle with them till you finally got them to the floor. I watched here and there, and I saw a little bit how they did it in the real game. So I used to just like run at the guy, just like dive into the guy and like knock him
They
down.
threw you out
They
because
threw
of
me
that?
out. They said, "Sorry, we can't play with you anymore.
Maybe you should try
You're too good. You're too good at this game. You're knocking us down. You're actually getting us onto the floor easily, not too hard. You know, they want to like schlep it, huh? Try rugby, yeah. And I know how to. Yeah.
Well, why is it called Erev Shabbos? Wouldn't it make more sense for Friday evening during Shabbos?
So again, the literal meaning of Erev Shabbos is the eve of Shabbos, which would mean Friday evening when it gets dark, after Shabbos started. And when you see it in halachic terminology, it very often is used like that. Although I will tell you that even in the Talmud, sometimes we use the terminology Erev Shabbos to tell you the day before Shabbos. It's just a terminology that's used. Yeah? Makes sense? Good. You get rich of all this sense. Enough sense, you get $1. That's the oldest joke ever out there. All right, let's continue. So Rabbi Yehuda says, do not give the kids wine. There's no purpose of it. Just give them a bunch of nuts. They're going to play around. They're going to be happy. They're going to stay up, and they're going to be able to ask the manishtana. They're going to ask the questions to their parents. And as Pesach Eve is meant to be an evening of education, it's actually meant to be a time where children learn from their parents. Yeah? Yeah? Good. Rabbi Akiva, Amru Rabbi Akiva, it was said on Rabbi Akiva, that he used to actually do this. He used to give out whole grains and nuts to Erev Pesach to the children, so that they shouldn't go to sleep, and that they used to ask questions. So this is what? Who did this? Rabbi Akiva. Now, it doesn't say if Rabbi Akiva agrees with Rabbi Yehuda as far as the original one. Yeah. It doesn't, again, Rabbi Yehuda disagrees with the original Tana. The Tana Kama says we give them wine, 4 cups of wine. Rabbi Akiva says we don't need to give them 2 cups of wine. We only need to give them nuts to get them excited and to have them asking questions. Right? Rabbi Akiva used to definitely give out nuts. That we did say. Rabbi Akiva used to give out nuts to the kids. However, it's not clear whether or not Rabbi Akiva maybe he gave them nuts and 4 cups of wine. Doesn't say it. Right?
Right.
We don't know. Right? Does it say anything over here in... No, doesn't say anything over here regarding Rabbi Akiva's opinion, whether Rabbi Akiva was in total agreement with Rabbi Yehuda or he did that in addition. Okay, we have Marvin Tichler is very sad today because his rabbi friend, Andy Cohen, I don't even know who that is. Who's Andy Cohen? Don't know who that is. But apparently he passed away and he's very sad. This guy, online. No, he's online in the computer. He writes there, somebody passed away. We feel very bad for him, and we condolences. We send condolences. And yeah, the Neshama, I'm assuming he's a Jewish, if a rabbi, Mr. is Jewish. Well, could be Cohen. Maybe he's a Cohen. Anyways, let's continue. Tanya, it says in a Braisa. So again, we basically quoted this. Interestingly enough, we didn't really analyze this quote that much yet. Okay? But we're going straight into another Tanaic quote from a Braisa. Tanya, it's on a Braisa. Rabbi Eliezer says, "Choitvin matzis b'leilei Pesachim." We grab matzis on the evening of Pesach, b'shvil tinoike shelo yishnu, so that the children should not fall asleep. What does it mean they're going to grab matzahs? What does it mean?
There's a Rashbam here.
What does it mean they're going to grab matzahs? What does it mean we're grabbing matzahs? We grab the matzah. What are we doing? Who's grabbing the matzah? I'm grabbing the matzah. The kid's grabbing the matzah. What's going on? Huh? Oh, the kids are preoccupied playing with the nuts and they can't grab the matzahs. Okay. Anyone else? What's grabbing the matzahs? Huh? Who's? No, the night of Pesach. We're talking about during the Seder. Yeah.
We lift the Pesach plate up, so the kids will say, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. How do you know that? Oh, so you read the Rashbam. He snuck his eyes and he says, "Look, I'm going ahead of you, Rabbi. I'm doing my own show. Zell. Should put you over here. You teach it to Gemara." Good. So that's actually what Rashbam says. Actually, what Rashi says as well. Rashi says is that you lift the kaira at certain points. You lift the matzah at certain points in the Seder, and the kids are like, "What on earth are you doing? What are you crazy stuff, man?" Huh?
What he says Rabbeinu.
Or
Is
what?
that Rashi? What's the reference to Rabbeinu?
Rabbeinu was definitely Rashi in the Rashbam, yeah. So he actually gives a different, he says that there is yeah. A little Pirush Rabbeinu. He says both of them comes from his Pirush, yeah. No, Rashi, look at Rashi. You have Rashi. Again, even though you have Rashbam, you also have Rashi on the top, and it's important to read both because over here Rashbam quotes Rashi, and he gives two opinions. Yeah, good. Rashbam goes into, he basically says Rashi's opinion, and then he says another opinion. He says a third opinion. It's not so simple. There are different opinions of what it means to grab the matzahs.
Can I ask you
Yeah,
a question?
you just did. We'll give you another chance.
Rashi says, "Uklim meher."
Yeah.
Matzah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So why doesn't it talk about Achelat Zman Pras?
Huh?
Why doesn't it say Bizman Achelat Pras?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Kazayit.
Yeah,
He says meher.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't get your question.
So why doesn't he bring it out that we have to eat the Kazayit and Bizman Achelat Pras?
Again, that is the halacha. Apparently, we're doing it quicker. He's trying to say we do it quicker than normal.
Yeah.
Normally, every Shabbos, every time you eat, you're supposed to eat a kazayas within a chilas pras. He's trying to say on Pesach we do it quicker. We grab the matzahs, which means we try to grab it and do it quicker than normal. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Why do we? How often do we have Rashi and Rashbam together?
I cannot tell you every place that it is. It is this entire Perek, Arvei Pesachim. We have the Rashbam and Rashi. As I said in the past, we'll say it again because we have some new faces over here. Kenai Nahara is that the Rashbam was a student of Rashi, and he felt that his teacher Rashi did not complete his legacy of commenting on the entire Talmud. There's a few places that either there's no Rashi, and there's some places where there is limited Rashi. Like in our situation, there's limited Rashi, and he felt that Rashi himself did not complete his own commentary. Right? Since he didn't complete his own commentary, the Rashbam felt that it was his job to complete the commentary. And unlike Rashi, who was extremely precise and said exactly what he needed to say and nothing more, nothing less, right? However, the Rashbam is a little bit more elaborative, and that's why the Rashbam, wherever you have the Rashbam, it's going to be at least 1.5 times, if not twice, the size of Rashi. I would actually suggest the opposite. I think Rashi is easier to understand because Rashi didn't. When you add too much information, you can ruin the situation. As a matter of fact, I don't know how many of you were ever in sales. I thank God I actually had a lot of sales experience. And in sales, by the way, there are some headings that's not, but yeah, there's some headings. The Rashbam adds some headings as well. Sorry, what I'm saying in sales, there's a concept called talking yourself out of the sale. Anybody heard of this concept? Yeah. Talking yourself out of the sales when the guy's ready to buy it, and then you think as a salesperson, if the guy's ready to buy it now, wait till I tell him XYZ, and then you tell him XYZ, and the guy's like, hey, you know what? Now that you say that, I don't want it. Right? In other words, if sometimes in a salesperson, when you see the other guy wants it, you go zip. Because anything you say, you don't know, maybe you'll turn the guy off, right? The second you hear the guy is interested in buying it, just walk him till he gives you your credit card and out the door, and that's that, because you never know. And it's true. By the way, people in sales, people do this all the time, because it's very often you think that the customer will want the product more by something you say, and very often not, right? So if already the guy's interested in buying it, he's sealed, he's done, he's fit, good, so sell it, good. You heard enough information to buy it, great. Give me your credit card, take it out the door, walk out the store, right? That's what it said. So it's the same thing that in Rashbam, sometimes because he's more elaborative, he could be more confusing too. Okay, so again, just because he has more words doesn't necessarily mean that he is giving you more precise information. I think Rashi understood this. I mean, I think the Rashbam also understood this, but I think Rashi was the master at giving you exactly the words that you need without any of the words that you don't, so that you get very precise information that will help you understand the Gemara without confusing you, right? Whereas the Rashbam very often, as in this Rashbam, for example, Rashi gives you two very simple reasons. Boom, boom, boom. Right? Then Rashi says, Rashbam says, there's actually a third reason. And by the way, I don't like either of the three reasons, so I'm going to tell you a fourth reason. Before you know it, you're like, I don't know what's going on here, right? But the Rashbam, Baruch Hashem, it's also part of the Talmudic ritual is to get your brains moving a little bit. Let's go weiter. Yeah. So let's go back. So he says, grabbing the matzah. Let's just deal with Rashi's explanation. If you want to read Rashbam's, you're definitely encouraged to read the Rashbam's explanation. However, right now, Rashi basically says one of two things. Either is that we lift the matzah at times during the Seder to get the kids to mean like, why are you lifting the matzah? And another opinion is that you would eat it much quicker than usual. So by eating it quicker than usual, you would strike their interest in asking questions. As we can see throughout the Seder Pesach, we have this till today. It's actually very important to strike the children's interest in asking questions. If you could get your children to ask questions that are not relevant to the actual, like 4 questions, okay, the 4 questions they're going to ask. Why? Because they were told by the teacher to ask, right? But if you could actually do something that will trigger their interest in asking a question other than the exact 4 questions that we asked during the Seder, that would actually be beneficial as well, right? Good. Tanya, we have another brisa. Amru olav av Rabbi Akiva. It was said on Rabbi Akiva. Shemiyamav loy amru higia eis lamoid bebeis hamedrash. Rabbi Akiva was never found saying it's time to stand up from this study hall. In other words, let's take a break. No. Rabbi Akiva never said, let's stand up and take a break from the study. He never did that. Chutz me'arvei Pesachim ve'erev Yom Kippur, except the day before Pesach and the day before Yom Kippur. That was the only 2 times that Rabbi Akiva would give a bang on a table and say, guys, let's take a break. Everybody stand up and go home. And there was only 2 times a year that he did this. What were the 2 times? The day before Yom Kippur and the day before Pesach. Be'erev Pesach, the day before Pesach, he told them, get up and go home, b'shvilti noikes, because of the children, because we don't want them to fall asleep. Go home, make sure that you keep them up so that they can learn, they can be educated in accordance with the necessities. Be'erev Yom Kippurim, and the day before Yom Kippur, in order that he should give his children food, because they're meant to fast the next day, and if he doesn't give them food at Erev Yom Kippur, they won't eat on Yom Kippur either, and then that will be a problem. Right? You'll say children don't fast, and then the answer is it depends. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Yeah? Suda Amafsekis. Yes.
Is it better for them to try to go like a half day?
They could do it. Again, if a child's really up to it, they can fast the whole day. As a matter of fact, I had the shtus when I was a kid. I had the shtus. I think I fasted maybe even when I was 10 or so. I think my first fast was when I was 10 years old. I was just like, yeah, no, I'll do it. Huh?
Different generation.
What different generation?
I also fasted when I was 10, 11.
Right. And what, you saying they don't do that these days? My son actually did recently. My son's right now he's 12, but I think even when he was 11, one time I just came to the end of the fast, and I see like he was eating like he didn't eat the whole day. And I'm like, did you eat today? And he's like, no, didn't do it. That's it. He didn't fast the whole day.
Wow.
11 years old. So don't, I know the older folk always like saying, yeah, well, in our generation, we were up better than you. No, there's still people out there. I think actually, if you ask me, I think the whole concept of there's an optical illusion that when you're older, you think that the younger generation is doing much worse than you did. Why?
No, it's true.
because you're more mature. So since you're mature, you're like, well, when I was less mature, I was probably as mature as I am now, right? And they're less mature than I am now, but they don't realize that, yeah, when you were that age, you did the same thing. Or you acted the same way.
What if
Right.
our suicide rates are 10 times what any previous generation was before? Then we can say there is
Th-
actually.
th- Then you need to shut down liberalism.
Yeah, exactly.
The suicide rate's going up, just get rid of the liberals and you'll do well. That's it. Right?
We could use the chemtrail jets and spray
That's
testosterone on
actually what
everybody.
suicide does, by the way. It gets rid of themselves.
Transgender or something.
Huh?
What's what you need?
Huh?
Especially Europe.
Second.
What?
That's related to the sugya.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
Chemtrails
I don't know chemtrails. I don't know chemtrails. Anyways, yes, the fact is that Torah is life, and the more you're involved in Torah and you connect with Torah, the more you want life. And unfortunately, we see the other way around with people that are too secular and too material, and they're not involved in more spiritual ambition. Unfortunately, they have rates of destroying themselves, which is, it's really sad. It's really sad that somebody actually can get to the point where they actually want to say that, they just boom,
Well, it's an evil world.
I mean, I've had some hard times, man. Don't get me wrong. I'm not happy, go lucky, Mr. Everything's funny guy, right? But yeah, it's pretty sad if a person doesn't see the true value that God created in this world, and therefore wants it all gone. It's unfortunate, but it is connected with the lack of recognition of God. You'll see this, okay? Now that we finished a piece of Gemara, maybe we can rant a little bit, not too much. But no, we see this very clearly. You see that people that don't believe in a higher reality, who just think we kind of fell into place, right? We just evolved into the reality that we are in. So, in other words, we're one big mistake.
It also
Right?
means
As a matter of fact, according to the theory of evolution, all goodness comes from problems and mistakes, right? It's called mutation. Mutation, by definition, mutation is when something goes wrong. Something goes wrong. Enough things go wrong. Some of the things that go wrong are actually right, and then those survive, and the other ones don't.
It also means
So in
that
other
we're the
words,
smartest thing in the universe.
It also means that we're the smartest thing in
Which
the
means that
universe,
we're the ones who have to
except
control
AI,
everything.
by the way.
Huh?
Except AI, but we put together
Well,
AI.
those people don't like the AI stuff. They say it's too scary
it's
because
too
it might be
scary.
smarter than us.
Yeah, if
they want
it's
to stay in
smarter.
control. They want to have narcissistic, solipsistic control of the universe.
Yeah. But if you realize that there's a God in this reality, and He created even the AI was also created by God. So then you're like, wow, thank God you gave us a tool. By the way, I love AI. I use AI all the time. I use it. No, but no, I sing. We've been singing about AI for years. Or the Kabbalists from really way back when, we've all been speaking about AI all the time. You ever saw a video of the Lubavitcher Rebbe's program, right? When he was making a farbrengen, they would sing it the whole time.
Actually, instead of AI, you know what we should call them, Rabbi? Instead of AI, we should call them SM.
My glasses are getting off.
SM, Silicon Malachim.
No.
We call them SM.
How about let's just call them AI, which is
Silicon Malachim.
which is exactly what it is, artificial intelligence, and that's that. We'll leave them where it is. And again, there's nothing to fear. On the contrary, every invention, the Rebbe said this as well, every invention was there to empower us to do more good than we could have done prior, right? Now, it is a challenge because very often with the ability to do more good, we can also do more evil. And the challenge is if enough people use it for good, then evil won't have a chance, right? Meaning if most of the people use AI for good intentions, for good purposes, then evil won't be able to stick its head up. You know why? Because we'll have AI stopping it. Because again, if AI is not people they get scared that AI is going to have this own this personalized interest. No, AI is all it is a computer that's has a bunch of calculative formulas that just bounce back and forth. That's all really it is, right? and it doesn't have consciousness, right? And it can't decide to go. It can't do anything against the way it was programmed. It was programmed the way it was, and exactly the way it's programmed, it's exactly the way it does. It cannot go beyond its program, and therefore, us as human beings, you disagree. You think that, yeah, right? You really think that it has its own consciousness? Yeah.
I think
Regular AI has the only limitations of what the created.
Right.
However, there are these robots that have the
Okay, so they,
they've grown human brains in like petri dishes
yeah.
and connected them to robots.
I've actually heard about that. That sounds really weird,
they're
man.
called organoids.
True. So like.
So you don't know if you think if it's a human brain, it might actually have consciousness.
Peaches.
No, you don't even need a brain.
What do you think? What do you think?
No, I think all intelligence comes from Hashem's intelligence, and all intelligence is conscious to some degree. It's just a matter of how much. That's what I think. Also, I think
If you say so.
some of these systems have the ability to go back and rewrite and edit their own source code.
Correct.
Right.
Some decisions that they make themselves.
Right,
So you give
but
them
even
structure.
even that was something that was programmed, meaning the
Yes,
programmer programmed them with that ability.
Right, but the system could have an inherent capability that the programmer didn't intend, which is
Right.
part of
You're
the-
saying that there can be an outcome. There can be an outcome that was unintended by the maker, which is basically any invention that enhances human abilities has that reality. Anytime when we invent something, the whole purpose of inventing something is that we can do something that we couldn't do prior on our own, right? That's the whole point of it. Yeah,
The main thing with AI is that we feed them information. Imagine
that's
robot.
airplanes.
Imagine a robot learning everything that's on the internet. Everything. You know, languages.
Huh?
Imagine a robot.
Yeah,
learning
an AI,
everything
yeah.
on the internet, in science and medicine. So
Yeah.
the big applications now,
Yeah.
you know where they are?
Where?
In medicine. Okay?
Yeah.
They're using AI to make antibiotics
Yeah.
that are not resistant to the bacteria.
Right.
And they said we can tweak now using AI the antibiotics every day, and the bacteria can't keep up. Hashem. And the other thing is they
There
have
you
the
go. So
ability.
AI is enabling humanity to do things it couldn't done before.
One other example.
Good. That's why God gave it to us.
One
What do you
other
think?
example.
Not only that, it
they
can
were
be a
able-
throne for Hashem to sit on, actually, in the physical world.
Listen to this. They were able to also buy visual inputs to teach the AI.
Yeah.
Right. So they gave it billions of pages of medical information on a certain operation. That's very delicate. Okay. And in a certain hospital, they gave it a robotic arm, and they looked at the AI. Why? Because after 6 hours of surgery, the robotic arm is not shaking. Like a
Right.
surgeon who's been working 6 hours. So they do this on dummies, and they do it in real surgery. They show the arm going in, goes in, goes in, goes in. Does the exact opposite operation that the human did because it's seen it 500 million times. Okay?
Yeah.
Then it stitches. It's incredible. Stitches.
Good.
And then the other doctors wipe it down and close up the wound.
Can I know that? You see, very good. So that's why. Why do you think God allowed or gave us the ability to do these things? All of it was there to enhance our ability to do what God's work.
But you're also
And
used
to-
for nuclear war.
Yeah. As I said, if enough people use it for good, Yeah.
Better calculated machines than
Yeah.
human beings.
I actually saw yesterday. I shouldn't mention this, but I saw Donald Trump. He said something very interesting. He was speaking about coming to agreements with all the nuclear powers to produce less
Yes.
to produce less nuclear weapons, because he says, first of all, we have enough nuclear weapons already to destroy the world times over. And there's no point where you were wasting. But I'm saying his point was not. It wasn't even about preventing war. It's like, listen, we're wasting money. Listen, we could kill each other anyways already. Okay, stop. Okay, we could do it. You don't need each one of these bombs costs millions of dollars. You could just use that money for better things, right? We can already kill each other. Fine. You want to kill you? You want the ability to kill everybody? Good. You got it. You're done. Finished. We can kill everybody. Good. Now, why are we going to want to kill everybody more? You can. Once they're dead, you can't kill them more. If the whole world's destroyed, we can't destroy it more. So the Trump is like, I like his perspective. Listen, we could already do it already. Good, calm down. Let's just stop wasting money on being able to kill ourselves more.
One more small point. They found a robot, an AI,
Yeah.
speaking to each other about a year and a
Yeah.
half ago in a language that was indistinguishable, but it was clear that it was communication.
Yeah.
The scientists immediately cut the cord. They developed a communication language.
Yeah.
It was incomprehensible to humans.
So why did they cut the cord?
Because they don't know.
Because they're scared. Because if they believed in God, that God did this all for the benefit of humanity, they would have never cut the cord. They would say, let them go, let them go. What do you mean? What? Well, you think the AI is not as stupid? If there's no human beings, who's going to make the electricity? You think the AI will make their own electricity? I don't think so. He says maybe they could. Maybe.
I don't trust AI.
Besides, the AI doesn't have a will to live. Does it? I don't believe any of this. He does, but I don't. So.
We'll dig into that.
The AI was built by us, for us, and that's it. God gave us the abilities in order so that we should enhance our reality as much as possible. Though I would have let them. If I was a scientist there, I would say let them talk as much as they want.
It's interesting.
I
though.
said
let them talk.
It's
Yeah.
interesting though.
Huh?
Talmudically.
Einstein and Oppenheimer made the atomic bomb, both kids.
Can I know her? Yeah.
But
I'm on the part of
from
much
Talmudic
Ah.
perspective,
perspective.
from a Talmudic perspective,
Yeah.
and technological perspective, any way that you speak about angels or demons, you can speak about AI in the exact same way with the same words.
Well, if you look kabbalistically, angels are a form of AI.
They are.
They
Absolutely.
really are, because angels, according to no, seriously, because according to Kabbalah,
They are. They're
they
divine
are
AI. They're
angels are not
synthetic,
beings. They're
non-human
not.
intelligence,
They're not beings with
free will.
They don't have free will. In other words, they have a program that they must follow, and they have insane capabilities,
Yes.
but their capabilities are limited to exactly what they're meant to do.
Yes.
Meaning they cannot choose to do something that God doesn't want them to do.
Like a shliach of the Rebbe.
Even the Alter Rebbe writes in Tanya, and actually it was in the last few days, I don't remember, but I remember it was recent, where he writes that if a person does a sin, they're actually worse than the angel of death. Why? Because they say the angel of death, the Yetzer Hara, the devil, whatever you want to call it, Satan, he's an angel, which means he has particular properties and he has particular job, and he does not do what God doesn't want. God wants him. What does God want? His job is to entice a person to do a sin, and he does it. And unfortunately, he does a pretty good job at it, right? He does a good job, right? The person who actually, the person who intended to sin, or who was drawn into the sin, that person is it has the ability to do something that God doesn't want. Only the person, human being. Right? So in other words, what does that mean? That all these angels are massive AIs with particular, just like an AI has, it's built, that it's called action reaction, right? You put an input and that input somehow bounces around and causes a particular effect. And that's essentially what angels are as well. They're pretty much AIs. Good? Can I know it? Good. Any other questions? Final question before we go on to studying on your own? No?
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Can I know how to? Thanks for joining.